The FV215B, the oldest British Tier 10 heavy tank in the game. It was in the game since the official launch in World of Tanks console, leading after the Conqueror. And the British heavies back in the day were not that great. But then again, none of them were. You had the E100 line, you had the E5 line, and you had the FV215B line. And heavies were not very heavy, other than the Germans. The Germans had armor, and the Germans had health. The British had health, but they didn't have much armor. And then the Americans kind of behaved like mediums and had no armor whatsoever. You could auto-lock the E5 and pen it through the upper plate. That was back when it was first released. It was very, very weak in the way of armor. But the FV215B was kind of the in-between. It had some armor on the upper plate. Standard proof round back in the day, back when people mostly shot standard rounds. But the lower plate was very weak. In fact, the lower plate still is weak, and you can pen yourself in the lower plate with your own Hess shells. So keep that in mind. 152 millimeters of upper plate armor, but angled nicely, kind of. It equates to about 260, 270 millimeters of effective armor, which will barely block standard rounds. Then you angle it, and you're doing pretty well. It was advertised to have 102 millimeters of side armor. Truth be told, or 101 actually. Truth be told, it did not. It had 101 millimeters of side armor at the very top, above the tracks, a very thin strip of armor. Below the track was 50.5 millimeters of armor. Meaning you could block 150 millimeters as 150 millimeter caliber guns, so long as you weren't over angled. But you were overmatched by 155s, the T95, the T110E3, the T110E4. When the Russians came out, the Object 268. Now the Chinese has one, the Death Star has one, the Jaeger, which you had to fight against. In fact, every single tank destroyer that you have to fight or had to fight at launch could overmatch your side if they shot you into the tracks. No matter the angle, they would penetrate because of the overmatching mechanics. Thankfully, about 2 years ago, that got changed. Not the mechanics, but the amount of side armor. They actually buffed it so that even the lower part, the lower half of the tracks, have 101 millimeters of side armor, and now it's an absolute beast. You still had a weak spot though underneath the turret. Do you see that fighting compartment? There's like a angled plate underneath the turret when you side scrape that they could shoot. The Super Conqueror, when that released, didn't have that because it was buffed to 300 millimeters of armor. Finally, they've done the same to this, and this tank is probably the best side scraping heavy tank in the game. The IS-4 would be the best if it was rear mounted or even center mounted, but because it's front mounted, it can struggle from time to time because of its plates. But this tank, holy cow, is it good at side scraping. And you're going to see that a lot in today's games. We gave too much of our hull there, and he's able to go through our lower plate, but we finish him off no problem. We are up to 1,800 damage blocked because at the start of the game we were side scraping, and one of the targets who first shot us was that 4005. He bounced right off of us with that AP shell. Now we assumed he was coming around the corner to shoot us. He's not. He's shooting someone else, and so that's going to allow us to put shells into him here. 1 and 2. Now he's tracked. He's going to fix that. Rats, that's okay. E100 just fired. Oh, he goes down. Now we can shoot this E100. One into him. See if we can put a second one into him, but unfortunately we've lost the town. We have to keep that in mind. And here come the tank destroyers on our left. I'm hoping that my tank destroyer can hold them off. They cannot. The Ag Tiger goes down, and now we're in a bit of a situation because the E100 pens us through the turret. That is the right thing to do. In that, well, when you're fighting this tank and it's side scraping, you can actually go through the turret if you hit it right, and he did. You can punch through it, especially with AP or APCR, so long as it has high pen. Heat is going to struggle, but he found it anyway. But we get beneath the guns here, and now we have an E5 on our left. We're going to put a shell into him. We're going to ammo rack him, which is very nice, and we're going to side scrape here and try to stay beneath these guys' guns. Put another shell into the E5. He's going to probably try to find a shot into us. It's going to be very difficult at this angle. He does. He bounces off of our turret. And can we get one more into him before we die? Because unfortunately, we are going to die. There's the shot. We bounce off. There's the E100. And he finishes us off, and we die. Not before we do 7,000 damage in the E100. We wind up winning this game, but I forgot to record the post-game results. I don't remember if it was an ace or not. We did score top. I believe it was a first class, but 7,000 damage. And in the next video, in the next replay, because I've got 3 of them for you guys, we will discuss exactly why we did so much damage so quickly. Safe Haven, the newest decent map in World of Tanks console. FE215B. Now back to the FE215B. The FE215B was special because it had the highest DPM of any heavy tank in the game. That was changed effectively by the T57 Heavy. Effective DPM. Because when you initiate a fight with a 57 Heavy, it's going to already be loaded. And so that thing's DPM is absolutely absurd. But as far as single shotguns went, this was the best, behind the Tortoise. Then more mediums started coming to the game. The Patton got buffed. The STB-1 came into the game. The Russian mediums came into the game. Suddenly the FE215B kind of fell behind on the DPM department. Then came out the Chieftain, tier 10. It was the Mark 6, and that thing had absolutely absurd DPM as well. In fact, it was better. It was better than the FE215B. Here we are going to side scrape. We're going to try to get to a better angle. There we go. That's the angle we want to have. And there was even more reason not to play this tank, because the Super Conqueror has the same gun, had the same DPM, had the side armor that the FE215B didn't have, had 10 degrees gun depression, had spaced armor on the front, which helped you defeat premium rounds off your upper plate. Still not great against APCR and AP, but it was still very helpful. So the FE215B just fell behind. But with these recent buffs on the FE215B, you now have better gun handling than you've ever had before, which makes no sense. And you have the same DPM as the Chieftain. You are now king again in way of heavy tank DPM. So now you are the best side-scraping heavy tank in the game. The mouse is good at it, but the mouse has weak spots, annoying weak spots, where when you turn the turret, they can shoot you in the mantlet. And you're going to see that where we kind of attempt that on a Type 5 Heavy later in this game, just to see if the same weak spot applied. It does not. But you can do that to a poor mouse. Same with the E100. When they turn the turret, you can shoot it in the mantlet and you'll go right through. And then when they're not turning the turret, you can go right through their cheeks. That is the curse of the mouse and the curse of the E100. Not much you can do in them. And we're up to 3,100 damage just like that. This mouse has given up. He's going to commit suicide. But we're going to put one more shell into him just for good measure. And he goes off to die. 3,500 damage done just like that. Oh, you're trying to get away? Nope. DPM, we finish off the MBT. Another tank that has a lot of DPM. There is the Type 5. I figured I would take a hit from him, but he does not have the big gun. He's got the 600 Alpha AP gun. And you see this little lip in front of me? That was actually covering my lower plate, so he couldn't find it. He shot me in the upper plate. He does not have the pen to go through my lower plate, or my upper plate. Even with premium AP, he's got 280 pen. He's gonna struggle. So, yeah, that's very helpful. But, alas, let's simply move on, close the distance on him, and see what we can do. 3 minutes in, 4,000 damage. There's a Grill 15. Put a shell into him. A Hesh would be nice to use here. This Hesh has 515 alpha damage and 120 millimeters of penetration. We only carry 3 because you only carry 35 rounds. You run out of ammo in this thing a whole lot. Yeah, you do. So be careful. Definitely take a lot of APCR. You might be tempted to take Hesh and a lot of Hesh, but trust me, it's not gonna be worth it if you're having good games. This is a more difficult tank to play, though. I know a lot of players, every time I have a review on a tank, a lot of players pull it out and are just like, it was very difficult to play. Or if it's an easier tank, like, wow, that really was good. Or if they're Unicums and they know how to play the game and they pull up the tank, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. But here's the trick I tried. That right there, you can do to an E100 or a mouse, right in the mantlet, just like that when it's angled. Type, you cannot. Can't do it to the Type. We just learned that. We just figured that out right here. But yeah, this is the FE215B. All the information I could give you as quickly as I could. 2,500 hit points. Absolutely crazy. Here he is again, about to shoot down on our upper plate. It actually hits us in the turret. Couldn't get his gun quite far enough down. And we finish him off there. He bounces off. We're up to 4,000 damage blocked. I'm just farming steel walls on this. I'm blocking more damage in this than I am in my mouse. Panzerkampfwagen 7 has nothing on this. Panzerkampfwagen 7 is just weak. Weak compared to the FE215B. And they used to be comparable. Now not so much. 7,800 damage, 4,000 blocked, 200 assist, 5 kills, all point blank range, within a lot of it within 300 meters, so you get that close proxy bonus. There is a close proxy bonus in World of Tanks. The closer you are, the more experience you get. You have to be within 300 meters. And lo and behold, that allows us to net ourselves an ace tanker. In the FE215B, 1,744 base experience points. Not too shabby. They're 4,005. That quickly did 4,200 as well. Must have had some good penetrations in just a 4.5-minute game. Is that how long the game was? I just went back. It was 4 minutes and 22 seconds. We almost had 2,000 DPM this game. Whew. Crazy, crazy stuff. But now it's time for one last game, and we're going to pull it out live for you and take what we can get. 3, 2. All right, now for a live game. See what we can do in the FE215B. Hopefully another ace tanker. I don't know, maybe we can, maybe we can't. But other than the fires, this is such a consistent tank. Although it's consistently set on fire as well, so I guess that's still part of the consistency. But I do remember the Super Conqueror, when that came out, just being the better all-around vehicle. There was no point to this tank. The Super Conqueror, even though it was front-mounted, it side-scraped better because it actually had the 101 millimeters of side armor that this tank said it did but didn't. Because on the upper part of the hull, where that angle is, that was 101, but the lower where the tracks was 50. They finally have... I should have shot there. They finally fixed that. Oh, the mouse is coming down to die. I like it. I like it. Yeah, they finally fixed that. Hello. Which is really, really nice. This guy's in trouble because of the mouse. Ah, we made it. Now what? Well, I missed. One shot at a time, one shot at a time. But yeah, they buffed the lower part as well to 101. So now you've got the same side armor as the Super Conqueror finally. Let me tell you, it needed it. Yeah, not happening. Not from that range, buddy. Who did 17 damage? He's unspotted now. He's still there. He's gonna be sitting there probably. Yeah. We don't have much ammo in this, so we're gonna hold our shot. I don't think he's gonna be there anymore. To be there would be ridiculous. Now he is back. Just gonna hold here. There's not much he can do. He's fire. We don't have the spaced armor on the turret that we would like to have, like that the Super Conqueror has, but that's okay. We're up on health. Okay, we were. Friend just killed himself. He's firing heat, so it's actually not something that we can consistently block. Good shots. This guy can't see us because of all the bushes in the way. There's the one pen he's gonna get. Oh, we tried to retrack him. Wait for that double check. And that's gonna probably be it for him, yep. Alrighty. And BT, hello, sir. Chisel. Chisel got out, or is that a different Chisel? He did get out. Wow, he's dead now, but he actually got out. Centurion is firing Hesh. I think I want to make the move here. And I'm in cover. Don't have the gun depression. 7 degrees instead of 10. The only thing that hinders this tank is gun depression. And being set on fire. Let's not forget that. Waffenträger E100, Grill 15. We only have 3 hash shells. We're also going to be closing in on Artie. Let's load him. He's Fosh 155's got the small gun. He's going to absolutely rip this guy apart. What the heck? An AFK Artie? I'll take it. Not worth it now. Waffle's going to come around this corner. 1, 2, 3. It's the last of my hash. Shoot underneath. And now we just have this Waffle who's definitely reloading. And we're going to be here first. We're going to get to farm him a little bit here. Hello. I know you just fired. Man, this tank is so good. No 7K, but hey, 6,900 damage for a first live game. First live attempt. Fantastic gun. Side armor comes in clutch. You can snap your shots. Snipe. Man, I love this tank. It's not going to be an ace tanker because of all the damage we did at over 500 meters, but it's probably going to be a first class at least. Yeah, we get the first class. Not too shabby. Going up in the Mark of Excellence. Maybe I'll re-3 mark this. Like, it is... I'm in love with this tank again. I'm so in love. It's right now, it's my favorite tank right now to play. Holy moly, I pulled it out, I think, on stream, and it blew me away. Just that side armor is so key on this tank. And then the buff DPM, so now it's equivalent to the Chieftain Mark 6. Absolutely crazy. But that, my friends, is my take on the FE215B. Probably the king of tier 10 again, in my humblest opinion. I think it's absolutely incredible. I don't know how it would work in competitive. Probably not very well, because everybody shoot premium. They know it just shoots through your turret. But you know what? I can see it coming into play on some maps where you don't need gun depression. But hey, who knows? Who knows? But that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will be seeing you all later. Take care, everyone, and peace out.